One weapon that's definitely going to be highly drafted, other than the run game we talked about, is Michael Thomas. He's been an absolute monster these last 2 seasons since joining the league. Kind of the clear-cut number one guy these past 2 years as well. Even though his 5 touchdowns last year are a little bit disappointing, but so many yards, so many catches, you can't really complain. How's he looking right now? Is he going to kind of maintain that dominant wide receiver one role? Is there any chance more touchdowns happen? What do you think of Michael Thomas in his third year here?
Yeah, he somehow looks even more physical than he has been the last 2 years, and that's kind of the nature of his game. But I don't know, he just looks stronger and more explosive than he has the last couple of years coming into a season. I do think that the touchdowns are a little bit of a disparity. 5 just seems it's kind of like hard to even fathom how that happened, because he's definitely their best target down in that area of the field. So I would expect that probably to go up a little bit. It's going to be interesting though. Like, does he hold steady? Does he improve? Does he drop back? If I had to bet on it, I would probably bet on the numbers taking a little bit of a step back. There's just never, that was the first time ever that one guy has ate up so many targets. And, the argument is, well, he's probably the best wide receiver that the Saints have ever had, in this Drew Brees era. And that's a fair argument. But I think if Cam Meredith is healthy and pans out, Traquan Smith has looked really good. Ben Watson is, he's not, a huge difference maker, but he's a tight end that can catch passes, which is something they didn't have last year. Like, in a lot of ways, Thomas was the only player, it felt like, on this team. And then the other thing I would say too is, at the start of last year, he wasn't really treated like a number one receiver by a lot of teams. That week one game against Minnesota, they didn't have Rhodes on him really at all. He played aside, and a couple times they matched up, and then by the end of the season, you were starting to see more teams gear their coverage towards him. Rhodes, matched out or shadowed him in the playoffs. And I just think moving forward, he's going to garner more of that respect league wide. Nobody's sleeping on him anymore. So I just think a lot of those different factors could lead to him not getting, 149 targets. I could just see that number going down a little bit.